So today I woke up and I saw that Sport was saying that Barcelona had someone to replace Valverde. And I was impressed. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And yes, as you heard right, apparently according to Sport, Barcelona are looking into Thierry Henry to be a potential candidate to replace Ernesto Valverde. Right now, if I'm not wrong, Henry must be 42 years old. And in my opinion, I like him as a character, as a person, as a footballer. As a manager, though, I do think he's quite unproven. We saw from him going to Monaco and just completely sucking. But in reality, I think it's kind of it's more down to kind of like a sum of the parts rather than one individual. Because as we've seen, even with Thierry Henry going out of Monaco, getting sacked, Jardine comes in and he's still performing kind of average in the same sort of vein. Barcelona, apparently, I said that they don't really care too much about that because they're using the examples of Luis Enrique and they're using the examples of Pep Guardiola as good kind of pivotal evidences or arguments to suggest that records for managers doesn't really matter that much. We're seeing that trend happen a lot around the world of football right now. We've seen Arteta going to Arsenal, we've seen Lampard taking charge at Chelsea, we've seen Solskjaer going to Manchester United, we see even with Zidane going to Real Madrid back before they won, you know, those 3 Champions Leagues. So it makes a lot of sense in a way that Barcelona will be looking to perhaps get a previous player, and people may be wondering, what about Xavi? I don't know, if Xavi's not ready, then maybe they will go for Henry. I think that Henry also is someone who understands our philosophy, because whenever I've heard him be a pundit, which he's not the best pundit, but I've heard him be a pundit, and when he's speaking as the pundit, he says a lot about, oh, I learned to play football when I'm 30. Or he always talks about kind of the Barcelona way, or his kind of anecdotes are about his time at Barcelona.
Meanwhile, this is Barcelona's training. So if he has to go all the way, he has to pass Yaya Touré eventually, or Busquets, or Puyol, or Rafa Marquez, whoever is playing.
This is what I'm
1-0.
So in that sense, Barcelona might be kind of looking at his profile saying, okay, he respects us as a club, he likes our identity, he understands the DNA and knows what needs to happen. So in that way, it's also kind of like a, I guess, thumbs up for Henry coming to Barca. Another reason that makes Barca interested in Henry is that he has a good connection with the players. You know, Messi, Busquets, Piqué, and then you have the kind of French connection. We have a lot of French players right now. Todibo, Umtiti, Lenglet, Griezmann, Dembélé. So it kind of would also make sense to put someone in there that would help just the communication in between the two parties, you know, the Spanish-speaking players and the French kind of community. So having Henry would also make sense from that direction. The only thing that I'm worried about is that Barcelona has never done good when our manager has been sort of a manager that prioritizes being liked by the players rather than having the strong kind of attitude to bench whoever needs to be benched. Normally Guardiola and Luis Enrique are the sort of managers where they don't care about who's playing or not, they put what they need. Examples, Guardiola bought Zlatan, kicked out Zlatan. And then you have someone like Luis Enrique that benched Jordi Alba, played Rafinha as a right winger in the remontada against PSG. He did what had to be done. And Valverde, in the other hand, whenever it comes to the big games, Roberto plays as a midfielder and plays with Semedo. So it's a completely kind of night and day difference. And that's sort of where I'm a little bit worried with Henry. He's very young, his managerial career, and I cannot tell you which path he's gonna go under. Is he going to go kind of the harsh route and be this kind of like Guardiola guy manager type of deal? Or is he gonna go with like the Tata Martino and Valverde approach, which who just cares about liking the players so the players like him back? So I'm very skeptical in that scenario. I'm thinking that if results don't come Henry's way, he kind of might look into liking the players more, you know, going that approach. If he doesn't have any sort of records to back him up, then it will be way easier for him to just kind of like let go of the pedal then and just tell someone like Messi, okay, you control the team, I'm just gonna be kind of like in the sideline shouting for pretend. I'm a little bit scared about that because he has a good opportunity here to be the main man. I think that someone, for instance, like Arteta at Arsenal, he has that in his mind very clear. He knows that he's going to be the man and he's going to be shouting out. He knows what tactics need to be implemented and all of that. He learned from Pep, goddammit. So of course he's going to be that sort of guy. The last thing that I think is really important to analyze surrounding this approach of appointing the ex-manager is that there's two ways that fans can react to it. The very first one, which is positive for the board itself, and here I think Bartomeu, if appoint someone like Henry, will be very smart, is because it will be buying him time. It will be buying the board time because the managers won't fall directly into an ex-player like that. They won't just go to them and be like, oh, you know, he's been doing bad and that, get sacked. No, they will be allowing him some time. You know, with like, for instance, once again, I go back to Solskjaer. It took him until the start of this season to finally get some head being turned and looking at him saying, oh, perhaps Oli is not the kind of the best man for the job, which in reality he never was because he's unproven. But it bought the board time, it bought the Glazers, it bought Ed Woodward time, you know? So, and money, most importantly, and money. So it makes a lot of sense from that point of view. However, the other thing which is positive for us, for the fans, for me, for everyone else, I think would be that we would start looking, and I think a lot of heads will turn, not necessarily to criticize if bad performances come our way, not criticize the manager, but I think a lot will start criticizing the board and the players themselves. I think that they will start to realize that the players, the actual problem of it is the players and not necessarily kind of the manager itself. Valverde is a very big thing that needs to go. It's a huge problem that needs to go. But I think that a lot of the problems also come down to the players and not too many people are making that assumption. So appointing someone like Henry might lead some heads to turn that way. It's just what I think, you know. Overall, I think that if it was up to me, I would like him to come to Barcelona someday, but I don't think it would be a smart decision. So if you tell me right now whether I would sign him as the next Barcelona coach, I wouldn't. I wouldn't sign Thierry Henry. So that's going to be everything for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. Let me down below know what you think about his potential managerial appointment and certainly about this kind of approach of signing young ex-players as new managers. Do you think it's a good approach that we're seeing right now in football? Because once again, like I said, there's so many examples of that happening right now, especially in the Premier League. So that's everything for today. See you in the next one. Take care. Ciao.